Summertime in the Fearless Front complex means all the toys and family come out and play with the projects. Yeah, what's going on, guys? Fearless Front here. You can see the wife and kids love that redneck side by side. I got to make some improvements on that thing at some point soon. She wants seat belts and need a little bit more safety things on it, and I gotta put a reverse on it or something. I think I'm gonna gear it down a little bit, but we're not gonna worry about that today. Today is about this. I haven't updated you guys on this for quite a while. It doesn't mean I haven't been working on it. I did actually get the hood mounted. You see a couple little bolts there, little mounting hardware. I don't know if I showed you that or not. It's been a while. I didn't actually go back and do my homework and watch the last video to see what you guys did and didn't know. You can see I do actually have the handlebars mounted. They are bolted into the frame. It's kind of hard to see, but we used the original mounting hardware for the steering shaft, and I shortened the steering shaft obviously and got the handlebars on there. All the controls I think work, so I'm going to try to use most of the stuff: the kill switch, the throttle, the brake mechanism on the right side. I also got a gas tank mounted to the frame. Used some angle steel, just standard Craftsman gas tank. You can see I had to do a little cutting of the hood to make sure that I could get to the gas tank and the steering would actually fit down through. But other than that, pretty much the same as it was. I've been working on trying to gather some parts for this thing so I can keep moving forward, because I can't really do rear swing arm, seat, any of that stuff until I know what motor is going in it and I have basically the physical dimensions of that motor. So those of you that actually follow my Fearless Front Facebook page, I actually posed the question. I had 3 options for motors and I wanted to get everyone's opinion. So if you guys are not currently liking or haven't liked my Fearless Front Facebook page, you should go ahead and do that. The link's in the description, because I oftentimes will ask questions, opinions, suggestions, stuff like that that do go into the build. I take everything into consideration. With that being said, I did make a decision on a motor. Well, there it is. It's not a very big box, is it? A piece of wood on top of it. But what we've basically got here, drum roll please, some of you probably already know looking at this stuff what we've got. Set that aside. Ta-da! This is a brand new Lafon 125cc 3-speed pit bike motor. It's 3-speed with reverse. Pretty much complete with starter, transmission. Obviously, if it's 3-speed, it's got all this wiring that I'm going to have to figure out. I think I'm probably just going to find a wiring harness for one of those little mini ATVs. I think I've got a source for one. And it needs a carburetor. You already got the intake manifold here, which you can tell by that it's just an absolutely horrible casting. So I'll probably go through this with the Dremel. But I bought Lafon, spent a little bit extra money. You can pick these up for a little over 200 bucks, sometimes just under 300, depending on what you want for options. The reason I went with a Lafon for an extra like 100 bucks is because I was, doing a lot of research, and I found that their quality control of their product is actually quite a bit better, and people seem to have a lot more luck with them versus the standard Chinese clone. This is a Honda clone motor, technically. It's a clone of the 125cc Honda engine. So hopefully it'll serve me well. Now, with it just sort of set in the chassis there, you can kind of see how little room I actually have to work with. People are telling me to put V-twins in this thing, just horizontally opposed twins. It's just, it would be absolutely insane to try to fit something on this little tiny frame, mostly because I still need a seat, a swing arm, and with a standard lawnmower engine I still need to put a transmission in there somewhere. And then you've got belts, clutch, all that stuff that you got to work out. The reason I chose this guy is because it's all in one unit. Engine, transmission, all together, has reverse, 3 speeds and forward. First gear on these are generally pretty low, so they're pretty torquey. So if you're towing or trying to get through the deep stuff, that'll help. And depending on how I gear it, I could see 35 miles an hour out of this thing. So I'm going to put this sucker back in the box, because obviously it's going to fit, and I really don't need to get specific with dimensions because the thing is so small. I think it'll be really easy to work with. And I need to focus on chopping the rear swing arm off the ATV frame I got over there, and work on trying to figure out how the hell I'm going to get it mounted to this thing. So that's what's left of the four-wheeler frame now that I've molested all the good parts from it. I may end up using some small pieces here and there, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. Here's where we're at currently with the build. Obviously that swing arm is not attached yet. I got a lot of work ahead of me before I can get it there, but you know, I'm leaving the rear axle, ATV rear axle and everything attached to it until I get everything kind of set up, mocked up, because I'm probably going to end up using the same tire, if not a similar size tire, something like that. But here are the mounting brackets for the swing arm. Obviously I have to clean these up. I just chopped these out. Basically the idea is going to be to reattach them more or less to this swing arm, the bushings, and we're going to probably weld this sucker to the back part of this frame, which means this whole cross member has to go, which isn't a big deal. The only reason it's on there right now is to keep this frame true. So really what I have to do now is kind of do a multi-purpose thing. So the engine needs a mount and I need lateral frame support. So I think what I'm going to do is start to build the engine mount and put a plate, which I've actually got right here. Alright, so here's what we've come up with. I actually welded the plate down in there, and on the back side I actually used one of these chunks of frame that I cleaved away from the front to make room for the front suspension. So I was actually able to make use of at least one of them. The second one I was going to use on the front side, and I'm actually glad I didn't, because when I grabbed the motor again and I brought it out here to check on it, because I remember there was some oil drains on the front. If I put something here, then the oil drain screw is actually going to hit it. There's going to be a lot of interference there. So what I think I got to do is actually do a piece of angle steel, so it's just a thin, you know, very thin support underneath this, and something to run forward. It could just be plate steel, but I like angle steel better. There's a little bit more rigidity there. But I don't have that piece of angle steel right now. I need 1.5 inch, and all I've got is 2 inch, so it'd basically be a scoop hanging underneath the frame, so I can't do that. But that being said, I've at least got this support in the back, so I can now take this sucker off and cut these ears off for the mounting for the rear bumper. I can get rid of those, and I can start focusing on getting this rear swing arm mounted. And I've actually went ahead and cleaned these swing arm mounts up. I got rid of that piece of steel that was in there. Some of you are probably going to yell at me and tell me it was a gusset, but I needed to get rid of it to make these work. And obviously I'm going to put a lot more support into this thing once it gets all mounted up in there. We are making some decent progress. You can see I got the rear bumper off there, and we are starting to weld the beginnings of the rear swing arm on there. I got it just tack welded in place. Having a hard time getting the rear level with the front, so I've had to grind and re-tack like 3 times now, but I think I finally got it level at this point. It's kind of a pain in the ass to get everything squared and lined up, and so, I mean, if you don't do it now, you're going to regret it later, because the thing's going to track weird. But we're pretty close. I'm not going to be able to get the shock mounted today. There's just no way in hell that's going to happen. So it's not going to be a 100% rolling chassis by the end of the video. But you know what? It'll be a lot closer than it was. So I'm going to keep welding and, well, hope for the best, I guess. Alright, so we're all welded up. The heat is actually still coming off of these welds, so I'm not going to touch it. But you can kind of see, generally speaking, we've got some rear suspension travel. I had to kind of clearance a couple things here because I did end up flipping the mounts a little bit, but it's not a big deal. I can just grind a little bit off this edge here and I can get full articulation. Right now it stops right about there. But that being said, even with that stopping there, it almost allows me to have a rolling chassis, finally. There we go. Definitely made some good progress today. I know the video probably doesn't seem like it was that long, but it took a long time. Most of it was in measuring and straightening and making sure things were squared. Kind of a pain in the ass, you know, mounting the motor, or not mounting it, but putting it on over and over and over again just to make sure I wasn't gonna trap myself when I put the swing arm on, and you know, all that stuff that comes into play. It's just kind of a pain in the ass. Maybe I'll mount the motor. Maybe I probably should mount the motor next, and then I can work on building the seat bracketry and mounting the rear suspension into the seat bracketry, and then I'll have to wire up the motor and everything like that. There's a lot that goes into that, so I won't bog you down with those details, but that's pretty much where we're at right now. Yeah, this thing's kind of weird looking. I'm sure a lot of people will not like it, but once it's done, it'll look pretty cool. I know a lot of people are probably gonna say, hey, it's not a lawnmower anymore. I agree with you, it's not. I don't know what the hell you call this thing now. So that is where I'll cut it off for today. I doubt I'll make any progress tomorrow, so it'll probably be next week. Hopefully I can get back to work on this thing and maybe mount the motor and do stuff like that. I gotta collect some hardware, mounting hardware and stuff like that. But you know, let me know what you guys think. It's getting there. I think it'll be fun to ride once it's done. The idea is gonna be 3-speed, you know, and instead of having it on the foot, it's gonna be a little slap shifter. You know, first, second, third, reverse, stuff like that. So I think it'll be kind of fun to drive. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. Drop a like if you enjoyed the progress on this bastardation of a creation. That's gonna do it for me today, and I will see you in the next update video.